Okay, so the last two pieces of the scopes that I want to talk to you about are the intervention piece and the acceleration piece. So these are added on to the end of our little menu bar here as places for you to differentiate. So if you have students that need to have a little bit more basic coverage of the content and skills, or you need to review, the intervention has some resources for you. Um, Alternatively, if you need to are ready to have some students move forward, they've got the basic knowledge and skills of this, and you're really ready for them to go a little bit more deep into it, then you might want to pull some things from acceleration. So let me give you an overview of what's inside of each of these pieces. So in the intervention, there is a investigation called guided practice. If you happen to look at what is in the Explore and you're overwhelmed by that, or it's just not really a good introductory investigation, you may want to check out the guided practice. Most of these are hands-on. This one looks like a web quest, but most of these are hands-on and they're really more focused and a little bit more basic. So you can explore that a little bit in your Explore time. There's also a closing in on science. And I'll click on this, and again you can sign this or print it out. You can sign it online, and this is going to be kind of that typical fill in the blank, and we can see the answer choices here. So if you were to assign this online, then your students would have a drop down menu here with some different choices for words to put in there, and there's typically a place for them to illustrate and kind of show some of their information in that way. And then we've got a passage. Some of these have a word bank on them and some of them don't. So you may want to just take a look at those and see what they look like and if they meet the needs. Let's take a look at the print version, and that might help a little bit. So because the online had the pull down menu, it didn't have the word bank, but the one that we print out has a word bank on there too. So it kind of serves the same function, so you can see what that looks like there. I will caution not to use these for every student in your class. It is an intervention for a reason. It's got a specific function, and that's to really help meet the basics of some of the vocabulary and some of the meaning, but it's a good resource if you need it. The last piece in here is called a concept attainment quiz, and this is kind of a modified multi-format assessment that again you can assign online or print out, and it's got usually a mixture of multiple choice and then some sort of chart they would fill in or matching. This one also has some pull down choices there as well. You can again sign this online. Let's take a look at what it looks like on print. So you can see this is another assessment. Again, you could use this as a formative assessment, or if you need something a little bit more simple for a student as a summative assessment. So those are some of the pieces in intervention. Now let's look at acceleration. There's some really great things in here. One of them is called Science Applied, and I kind of describe Science Applied as being either really great or not great. So let's take a look. It's always going to have some sort of background information, which when I look at this as a teacher, I think, ooh, that's informational text. So I could use that in lots of ways. This is going to be an application of some of the concepts for our particular standard. And then it's going to have some sort of guiding points, and it's going to give the students a checklist of things to do. So this is going to be kind of like if you kind of think about it, a kind of a PBL, a little bit of a simple project-based learning. I think this would be great for students who are ready to move on or to apply. I would just caution that you read through those and make sure that it really fits with what you're looking for. Same thing with science art. Science art has some really neat things in there. Sometimes it hits the standard directly right on the head, and sometimes it's just kind of in the neighborhood of the standard. So science art we'll have different things for students to do with different types of art media. So sometimes it's making a 3D model of something, or sometimes it's drawing something, or sometimes it's building something. So you would want to look at those. So let's look at this one. we're in fourth grade right now for adaptations, and it says you will make a plant headdress that highlights a plant's adaptations. This project will use your construction skills to create plant headdresses that represent adaptations that plants would need for a given environment. So if you think that would be a good fit, you could use it as is, or you could modify it and change it up so it would maybe fit your needs a little bit more on target. And the science applied and the project-based learning are kind of similar. They're almost like the two sides of the same coin. We've got another description and some materials, and then it gives them some different ways that students, some ideas some students could address that. And it's got lots of STEM scopes in action in here as well. You'll always find some sort of document with informational text, which again, as a teacher, I think that's an excellent resource for me to use either as it's designed here in this resource or just standalone. And I can print these out. I can print these out to use in any way that I would like to. So that wraps up intervention acceleration. I'll give you some time to take a look at those two pieces and we'll keep going.